the Startup India initiative, which is announced by Honorable Prime Minister in 2015, was aimed to build a strong ecosystem for nurturing innovation and startups in the country that will drive sustainable economic growth and generate large-scale employment opportunities. So there has been substantial progress made under this Startup India initiative, which has tried entrepreneurial spirit across the country. As we have the panelists who are experienced with this, I request panel members to say a few words about their journey. To start with, can I request Ms. Bindu to take over?
Sure, thank you, and I'm really sorry for joining late. So,
no problem.
Thank you, madam. Welcome, madam. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, doctor, and thank you, team, for inviting me for this session. Just a brief introduction. Been in the corporate for 20 years and trying my entrepreneurial journey for the past 3 years. I started probably at the best time of the decade, 2018. 1.5 years, tried establishing very well, in fact. And the second year, we hit the pandemic. But we are able to hold up and sustaining very well because I think the field that we are into, my firm is called Palitu. We are into education and enabling. We are very much associated with a lot of universities and colleges in Bangalore and a lot of other tier 1 and tier 2 cities. We enable students in low code, no code platforms. We hire them, train them, and deploy them. We are also promoting a lot of low code, no code products as well in the market. So essentially generating jobs and then, hiring freshers and deploying them. So because I think the whole idea is in job generation, so we've been doing pretty okay and being able to hold up so far. Very glad to meet you all. Over to the other panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I request Mr. Vinay Krishna to take over?
Yeah, sure, Archana.
Please say a few words.
Yeah, thank you. And first of all, thanks Nivarti and Dr. Thepaswamy to giving me this opportunity to talk in front of all of you. I am in this industry past 2 decades, and as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, just I started my first year I done in this industry. I tried. That time it was not named as a startup. We were just saying that we are running some software company and all. I ran that for 2 years and I failed. And then again came back to the industry, worked with the different companies, startups, a service-based company, product-based company. And from past almost 5 years, I am again come back to my entrepreneurship journey. From the background side, I'm from the technology background, so mostly worked on the different technologies, worked on the products, different kind of projects, completely on the polyglot side, where worked with the different kind of technologies. And right now in our organization, we are mostly a technology company where we work with all latest technology, whatever you will name, we work with that. And we are having a 2 stream. One is on the service side, where we do our development services. We do some consulting on the DevOps side, on digital transformation side. And we are also having a product stream where we are internally, we are coming up with some new ideas, and we look at like whether can we build quick POC and see that whether market, what the market response we are getting from there. And then we start building a product on that. 2 of our product is, one is email service on blockchain, which is world's first decentralized email ecosystem. And then the another one is a digital mirror, which is mirrored with lots of digital information that we can have it. Both these 2 are in the market right now. There are some others also, but which are still in the very initial stage, right? So that's how that entire journey is. And we are growing. Then when we are growing, then definitely we need more helping hands. So we try to get different colleges. We try to get the bright students from there, from the industry also and all, right? So the journey is going on in that way.
Thank you, sir. Now, can I ask Mr. Akhilesh to say about his journey?
I think Akhilesh will join about 15 minutes. Ashna ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jairam sir. Anyway, Jairam sir is not new to NMIT. We had privilege to attend many of his sessions. Sir, please say about your journey. This, sir.
So I'm not so courageous to be an entrepreneur yet, like Bindu or Vinay. So I'm still
Yes.
part of
Yes.
the corporate world. So I work with a lot of startups within the system as a mentor to help them establish themselves and scale them. So most of the startups we see, they start off quite well, but how well they can scale their products to sustain in the market is a challenge. And both Bindu and Vinay have been very closely associated for maybe 4 or 5 years now that we have been interacting. I'm very impressed with Vinay's innovation of digital mirror. I saw it in the last technical agility conference which Vinay runs, and it's a great product. Probably one day we'll reach a stage to have it in our homes and make it more affordable, Vinay. So looking forward to that and more innovations from you. And Bindu has been very closely associated. We both worked together before she moved on to the entrepreneurship journey, and is a good friend. And she comes with great experience on Pega, has been the leader of Pega in ANZ Bank as well. So pleasure again connecting with you as well, Bindu.
Same here. Thank you for having us. And I just want to say you may not be an entrepreneur, but you are an enabler to all us entrepreneurs. That's a bigger role.
Pleasure of you, Bindu. Thank you. Yeah, so I think I'll take the lead a bit to
Yeah.
convert
Yes, sir.
both. Thanks, Archana ma'am.
Thank
So
you, sir.
when I possibly this is the first for you. So you said yes, you started off being an entrepreneur, but then went back to corporate and then back to entrepreneurship. So what has been your continuous motivator that is been pushing you to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it was always there, I will tell you. Even though I failed that time, right, initially having just a 1 year experience in person. And I know if you are from uh, the beginning, if you are having a programmer or developer kind of mindset, right, always we try to build something, right, which is small also could be a bigger as well, right? So always we are getting some ideas, we try to build that, we failed and all those things, right? So initial days when I was studying, right, that time also I was trying to build. I will give you one example, like when I got my first desktop, and that is also not the first hand; it was second hand because during my study I was building a small application for one firm, right, by my extra time and all, right. So when I build a small application for them, they told that what do you want, and then those days having computer was like a luxury item, right? So I asked them that I want one small desktop. So they told, okay, fine, I will give you, but that will be in second hand. So I got the P2, Pentium 2, right? Where I was not having a CD drive, it was having a floppy drive, lots of limitations. And some of my, one of my nephew, right, he was studying there with me, and he was asking me that I need this software, like a Winamp. Now it looks like a quite a small thing, right? Those days having that for your music and all, right, it was very difficult. And I cannot install in my system because it was not getting into a floppy drive, that installation set. So what I have done, I have built my own Winamp, Winamp. Right. So that's how it is started, right? And after having a 1 year, it was like a risk, but and like a very fast quick decision, maybe, like I came out of and I started building my own and something. I did that. I was having a small setup and all, right, but something happened in my personal life. After 2 3 years I felt like, okay, I am getting behind with all my friends, and sometimes you are having some social society pressure, family pressure and all, right? So somewhere I felt like, okay, I have to come back, right? So I stopped that and I came back, but it was there again in my mind always. So when I was working with some companies where that startup culture was there, where they are ready to take risk, where they are ready to take the new ideas, then it's that entire ecosystem is quite good. Especially I'm talking about from my personal thing, right? When I was always feeling like building something new, looking at around some problems, and you are feeling like, can I build a solution for that, right? So that was happening in that case. But the moment I started getting into a bigger organization, right, where the risk taking will be always low, pressure will be there, you will be having a lots of work, but that type of culture will not be there. So then I felt maybe it's because of service companies I'm not able to get that. So can I get into a product company? So I came to a product company. There also, when the products are already in the market, big and all, right, the possibility is quite low in that case. And that time I will just give you one example. Like I built couple of applications that time, and that time mobile smartphone started coming up. So what I have done, I have created couple of apps, and that is just because I was just looking around and I was trying to build some applications. Like another example, my wife was carrying that time, and she was having some complexity, and I have to get lots of data and all, right? So I have built one application called as Easy 9 months, and that time it was like a big hit, that particular app. And it was not those many apps were there. Now there are lots of, plenty of, if you'll go there. And that app was a big success. I in Bangalore, there was every month, one Friday, there is a one meeting by all gyno doctors, right? I went there and I presented that app in front of them, and they were quite happy with that, right? So, and then I have built another one, like one browser which is voice integrated, and that I was trying to integrate with my that particular product where I was working on, and they also supported a lot. But again, it was like in a future plan, like after 2 years they will get it there. So in that time only, I have built another application called a EG Potion, like malnutrition child program, right? When they run, they collect the data, and when they are actually coming into a conclusion, what is the situation of that child, it takes almost like a 9 months. If the child is severely malnourished, he will not be survived by that time. So I built some applications, and with the help of some NGOs, and done that time. Still that application is there, but now government is having am health, which is not doing exactly the same, but they are not ready to take that. But yeah, that is how it started. Then I felt like, okay, I can get into some more risk if I can take, and having family, then lots of other things, right? It came into a picture, like what to do and all. Finally got some confidence that I can take a risk, and did that again. And the first time when I have failed, I was knowing that what is the reason to I failed that time, right? So I worked on that, and then this time it was little better than that.
Interesting, Vinay. And what I get from your whole explanation is that there is always a social problem which you can look at solving, in terms of becoming an entrepreneur. Probably you don't need always out of the box ideas. Just look out and be quite visible to what's happening around you.
Because I will tell you, EG Potion, right? That particular application, right, has been discussed in UN. There is a one food and agriculture, that organization FAO something is there, right? And one doctor who was going there, he has taken entire because he was helping. He was the main brain behind that. He was presented there, and you know how it has come to me. It was not for the application. They were just discussing with me that we are having this situation, what to do in that case. And then we started looking into, and I built small things which will be just able to help them to collect the all the data. Then how they will help, how this particular system will help them to collect the data. And at the time when the network was not that much good, like a geo and all those things was not there, so the people who are in the remote area, they will be not having internet. Then what to do in that case? Then again we have come up with, like, they can collect the data offline, and later they can post back. So lots of things we have given that, and then that application came into a picture, right?
Wow. Okay. And Bindu, while Vinay is all about developing, you are about enabling people like him to develop. You are building workforce with all the knowledge on low code, no code. So how did your enterprise journey start?
Right. Thanks for the question, Nivarti. So, to the audience, what I haven't told you all is that I'm basically just a BSc. I shouldn't be using the word just. I am a BSc, proud BSc Computer Science Max Stats graduate. And then thanks to Wipro and Azim Premji sir, whom I look up on because people like Azim Premji and Madam Sudha Murthy are my true inspiration. They are the people who have given an opportunity for the BSc graduates to join IT in 99 in a program called Wipro Academy for Software Excellence. So we joined that program 5 days. You are, working for Wipro as a regular employee, and on Saturday you are, you're rutting all the MS course from BITS Pilani. So at the end of 4 years, we become MS from BITS Pilani, and we also become completely refined, the hardworking, the passionate IT engineers. So that's how my career had started. And I always remained extremely, grateful for the fact that for whatever reasons I couldn't do engineering, and I always had a fear that I may then never come into IT. But there was this firm which gave me that opportunity. So the fact that there is a BSc stream, there is MCA, there is, MSc Computer Science, and these streams also need job opportunities, something that was always running in the back of my mind. And then during my stint at the Australia New Zealand Bank as head of Pega Delivery from Bangalore, uh, I came across this situation where I saw that there's a huge skill demand, and also even if people are certified, there's a huge gap in the way people understand the business and the way they look at so-called low code no code platform, right? Just for the benefit of the audience, low code no code platforms are products that are coming out these days where the developer need not code from the scratch in a traditional manner. I'm sure passionate people like Vinay are not going to like it. So this is for the people who want to quickly, or maybe, if Vinay wants to make a lot of products to solve the society problem, even then low code, no code is a solution, because the idea is, drag, drop, put some your algorithm, right? Coding algorithm, put the actual business problem logic into that product and build the solution as soon as possible, right? But what I noticed is that, even if it is called low code no code, the kind of bill that used to come to us in the bank for the projects that we develop, I didn't see the huge benefit, that ideally should be coming from low code no code. And then when I further started researching in the 2.5 years that I was with the bank, I started understanding how the skills actually get generated into this stream. And I saw that there's a huge gap. People were still understanding low code, no code as yet another programming platform where I have to code less. Actually, that definitely is not how you look at a low code, no code platform. It is essentially a platform that can quickly help you develop a solution for a business problem, which means people need to understand business problems. So, my sometimes, in life, it is not one reason that pushes you to do something. It is, there are a lot of threads, the Java threads that keep running in your brain, in your mind. When my son came to 10th, and I was, Nivarti is well aware, I was in a very lucrative role at ANZ, so-called, uh, Group 3 leadership role and all of that. I should have ideally been very happy with the kind of salary credit that used to happen and with the kind of importance that I used to get, but I was very unhappy. And there's this fine Monday where I was driving, and I thought my son is in 10th and I'm not able to give him the right time. There's a different call of entrepreneurship that is within me, and I'm not giving it any attention. Am I doing any justice to the purpose of my life? So here I was, I just went and I discussed with my boss, and I said, there's a call and I have to go. He said, what call? I said, I don't know, I have to resign. He asked me, did you want more salary? Then you need to tell me that. I said, no, getting a lot of salary seems to be the problem. I'm not happy with what I'm doing. And then, my boss understood so well, and he said, this is how a call comes. And so I think you should go try your hands at your entrepreneurship. You want to train people, you want to enable people, you want to generate jobs. That's a great thing. Go ahead, do it. And if things are not okay, remember to come back. That's how my journey started. And Palito is more of a service. Now we are into a lot of IP also. We are building a lot of solutions using these low code, no code platforms. We are partners with these low code, no code companies. So our solutions are already getting good recognition with the companies, and they are willing to invest in marketing these solutions. So that's how it all started.
Okay, great. Vinay as well as Bindu, I think in your journeys, definitely it's not been an easy one as it looks today after achieving some level of or good level of success that you have. So maybe Vinay, what are the key challenges you would like to highlight from your journey so far?
There are multiple challenges, and all are key challenges. That's the problem.
Agree.
So, right. So, the most important challenge is that when you are building a kind of like a organization where multiple people are there, you have to make sure that cash flows are all happening on time. So far I was more focusing on that I'm able to build my application or what technology I'm going to use on time. That was the most important part. But now slowly it started changing from there. So now what happened? I started looking at, because the month is going to be near and everybody's salary should be there, right, on time, and whatever we have committed, right. Uh, so initially, I will tell you, we have not faced that problem because, as you know, that we have started with uh, consulting side, which was a strong area of our side, right? So we were working on the lots of product companies with giving a digital transformation and all, right? But when we started building that applications, that products, and we started getting into a development side as well, we started getting couple of challenges in terms of which we have not anticipated earlier. The first thing is you need a good team. So good team in the sense, it's not how strong they are in the technically, but also they are also aligned with the vision that we have. They are looking at the company, right? Usually what happens when you try to get a person from people from the market, right? I usually don't try to use that word human resource,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I always use that people. So when we try to use that, try to get the people from the market, right, and when they come to know it's a startup, their complete expectation is different. They feel like, okay, we are funded, or maybe the startup, they can ask anything, or they have completely different mindset also. Or sometimes they will say that, okay, startup means where we will be having that stability. So getting right people from the market was always a challenge, right? So that's a major thing, building a team which is aligned with your vision and your thought. That is very, very important, and that was always getting a uh, and that is also for long term. You are not looking for something which is getting all of a sudden you are growing with that speed, and with the short term you are able to get that, right? So we are always looking at like a long term, and that is also a dedicated determined team with you. That was one thing. Then another thing is uh, uh, like as I told you, like a cash flow will be always there a challenge. Why? Because product will not give you immediate return. So it's always kind of like an investment. You are pouring, and then you are waiting that once at right time when it will start giving you some return, right? So that was there. And the third thing was like, as a startup, you have always a limited hands, and you have lots of things to do, right? So I started wearing different type of hats, and even though we work hard, right, we always feel like, okay, it's a like a we need more hours, right? And last thing I will tell you that initially 2 3 years whatever we have spent was always going quite well. We were always seeing the growth and all, right? No big hurdles, if you will say, ask me, right? Yes, we were having a limited hands, we were knowing that, right? But something we have never been anticipated, or we were not able to see that, or no one can forecast that, right? Which happened last year. So last year, when all of a sudden this came, right, that COVID situation and all, before that we have launched in January, we have launched our product formally. We have launched that product with the different variations, and we have done the product launch also, put lots of investment also in that case. We got good customers also in line, and all of a sudden from March mid, everything was stuck somewhere. So whatever we have planned, we have thought, right, and we have thought about a lot, especially from the digital mirror which you have seen, right, and that was giving us big visibility. So that has actually all of a sudden it has closed. So for 1 or 2 months we were not sure that where to focus, and then gradually we started learning the situation and responding and all. So we got that. One good thing was, like, from the beginning we were working in the mode of like we can work at any point of time, anybody can work from the remote, so it was a good thing from our side. But apart from that, yes, slowly we started getting into. So if you'll ask me, the challenge was building a team, getting a cash flow, and the third thing was with the limited hand you have to do lots of things.
And let me welcome Akhil. Akhil, thanks for joining us again today. Maybe you can just give a quick introduction for everyone here before we head off with the questions to you.
Thanks, Nivarti. Sorry, I was in another call, and I found that we have already reached our maximum numbers. So it was so exciting. My name is Akhilesh Chaturvedi. Fortunately, unfortunately, when I traveled way back in 1996 outside the country, they were not able to pronounce my name. And then it has got cut to Akhil, and it's absolutely fine. My grandma was calling me by this name. So being in industry for 23 years, and when I was really on my radar to grow up, I quit. The reason was I was looking to become a CXO in a company. And the company in which I was working, Accenture, was not possible for me to become the CXO. It will take another 20 years, and by the time I will retire. So I thought I have to do something differently. Now, when I started looking for this, I said, okay, there must be some courses available in India which will give me the CXO view, right? The Chief Information Officer or Chief Technology Officer. And I found only one organization which was doing a 4 days program. And I wonder if somebody can become the CXO in 4 days of training program in Indian Institute of Business School, right? ISB, Indian School of Business. I did go through that program paying 1.5 lakhs rupees, but it was not very satisfactory for me. Then what needs to be done? And that was my quest to leave and say that the country is looking for a CXO institution, which we do not have. If you go to Barclays in US, you have a 2 years program, $45,000 you need to pay. If you go to Germany or other places, there is very fabulous programs kind of things. And when I left, at that point of time, one of another partners of mine in Accenture, he was also managing director. I called him up. He said, you know what? I have also left. And the journey started to build India's first CXO institution. But as Vinay was talking about, and I was keenly listening to him, it's not that easy to build. You will not find out the people to join the program because you don't have the credibility in the market. Yes, you have been a good leaders in somewhere and all the stuff, but then there is support. And then I had to survive. So what can we do next? So Anant, who was my partner, was a leadership guy, and I was a technology guy. So we blended our learning together. So we created a technology leadership program and delivered to very large organizations. 500 CXO has gone through our programs in one of the organizations. And we found something to go ahead. But the change is continuous. People will not look for the same. And also looking for the changes in the how exactly we deliver to the leadership programs, right? So gradually we move from the leadership development to technology development to the technology also changed. And today my company has become a company where we are delivering the DevOps agile kind of programs for people across the board. Also, to make sure that the companies who are adopting this, they are assessed well and they understand that why they are using this particular method of working, why they are deploying this kind of a tools, and ensure that they have a right kind of people to drive their journey forward. So we are developing the products for assessment, for ensuring that the right kind of a training and the learning happen to all of these people. And there is something else which also happened 2020 March, right? As when I was talking about, we got our great setup. 1 month before that, we invested a lot of money to set up our office. We got a lot of people hired for that. And 1 month in the office, entire office is closed. So 30 people who have recruited across the spectrum, we have no jobs. And then we were thinking that, next month something will happen, next month something will happen, and 6 months our money is completely drained. So again, back to the square one, which we have started in 2014. No money left, no cash. We don't know what exactly needs to do, whether the CXO programs are going to go on, DevOps programs are going to go on, and the new learning has started happening. So we are building up another product called online learning platforms of a various kinds, which can be used in the other organizations as well as for the schools and the colleges. And it is working well at the moment. We are trying to get some cash so that we can create the flow. But yeah, this is where I'm Nivati. It's exciting to meet all of you. Thanks.
Yeah, Akhil. And yeah, definitely, I think biggest challenge has been the last 1+ year that we were all hit by COVID, and everyone has gone through their own experiences. And Bindu, one interesting question, right? You get a lot of different types of people. Some are already employed and they still are looking for something new, maybe entirely new students coming to you. Has there been a situation that you said, no, I can't work with you, I can't train you? And if yes, what were the primary reasons that you did that?
Yeah, sure. This quite a, I would say it's a very emotional question to answer because when you are in a service, right, and you say that you are an enabler, and Palitu's tagline says, it's education for the deserving, and you're in a situation where you have to say no. It definitely hurts us also to say that, and it's going to be very difficult for the person on the other side. But I'll be honest, we have had to do this, Nivarti, because when we select people and we're doing batch training, our selection process is pretty stringent. And I can just recollect one of the most recent transactions where we did a selection for LCNC batch, where we want to try something with the BCom students, right? And we want to start a program called Start Early, where we are trying to give LCNC knowledge from first year of graduation. In that, you will be very surprised with the numbers. We When I spoke about the event to the college, the number of students that registered were 104, right? And then we had to give them all online tests, and then there were 3 rounds of, we did the GD and all of that. And if I tell you the actual number that I've taken in internship, you will be very shocked. It is 4. We got 4. We got 4 because the enthusiasm was 104, but the people could actually who can actually be consumed was 4. So there is no situation where we have to where we are saying no, because we are upfront setting the expectation that these are the criteria, and if you don't make it, then so that's the little easy part. But when referrals come in, like I have my partners in across Chennai, Hyderabad, and Bangalore, right? And sometimes the partners make referrals of laterals who think they want to switch to LCNC, right? Java people come wanting to come to LCNC, .NET people wanting to come, software testers wanting to come into LCNC. The journey has been good always, except sometimes these technologies, Pega and Appian, are marked as niche skill, and this gets you a visa into very easily to enter other nations, right? So this becomes the entry token for a lot of people, and we've been in a situation where I don't mean to offend anybody. Somebody from computer science teaching background was referred by someone, and the laterals, of course, pay us for the course, and they pay quite an amount. And one of my trainer, I actually deliberately asked the person to put them one on one because we don't want to be, you need to start from scratch, and this program has to be totally different for this individual. And when I say this, I feel bad. We tried for 6 weekends, so we have to do programs on weekends for the laterals, and we tried our best. My trainer tried his best for 6 weekends, and then we gave a direct feedback to the individual as well as the person who referred and said, look, we would like to refund the money, but then we don't want to set you up on the path of failure. We understand your objective of learning this. It's a brilliant idea and your objective is right, everything is right, but for some reason programming doesn't seem to come naturally, or the idea of bringing IT solutions is not coming by the time. Usually people pick it up by third week, or the worst case fourth week, and here we were in the sixth week talking about workflows and SLAs, as you know what it means. And there was just no connection. So it was a very difficult thing for me because the references come from a partner. SCXO has referred, and then and my trainer is like, can we go and say no? I said, see, we don't want to do injustice to anybody involved. Even the individual would fail, right, if we somehow push the course. So, and that's not what Palito does. It is education and enablement for the deserving, very clearly. So we have said no, though it is hard on us, we have done it.
That's really interesting to hear that it ultimately depends on individual skills as well, right? Sometimes
Absolutely.
you want to do certain things because everybody is doing it, but is it your strength?
Correct.
Possibly no. If someone asks me to code something, I might miserably fail tomorrow because I don't know how to code much. So that I think is definitely important to understand what we are good at and then pursue that particular field. And what you said is absolutely right. If you see that that is not going to happen, it's not just about making money, but it's doing the right thing.
Right.
Yeah, great. And Vinay, possibly again, same question to you. Uh, in your case, you are from again a product spectrum. How would you say no to a client, and what makes you say no to your client?
Yeah. And yeah, I got your question. So the two part I will just take. One is from the product side and one is from services side. So services side, usually we do that because of if expectation mismatch is there. If we are looking at like this is not possible within the timeline what he is looking for, and he is not ready to negotiate on the uh, the features that he wants within that time frame, right? We try to convince them, but still we find sometimes that it's difficult, and the numbers are not very high. Like there are a couple of customers who feel like development is nothing, right? It can be done very easily. So and they don't try to focus on quality side, though that quality is by default in their mind. If you will ask explicitly that I will be able to deliver you without quality, then they will say no, 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 others are giving me with quality, right? So that is where, so we try to tell them that yes, it's not possible, at least in our side. And another thing is the cost. If it is too low, that is also we cannot take that, right? That is one. From product side, it happens when uh, they are looking for some features which is not there right now, okay, and their expectation is that these features should be there. And when we are saying that we will be setting up within this time frame, suppose we are saying within a week time it will be uh, done with in your premises and all, right? So that time also mostly it is like expectation mismatch, right? If they are not ready with that in terms of time, in terms of features like the scope, and the cost. Like if you remember that project management, that triangle, right?
Yeah.
So based upon that, we say sometimes no to the customer. We try to convince them, but yeah, so it sometimes it happens, right? You can't do anything. And usually we don't want to tell them that okay, it will be it will be possible, we will start, and then after some time we will say that it's not, and all right. So we try to be transparent from the beginning, and we work on that.
Mm. And you three are in different spectrums. Let's say Bindu is more working with upcoming students and enabling them to enter the right field, and also probably some laterals who are trying to get into low code, no code. You are totally on the product and services front. And Akhil is working with leadership and level beyond that up to a CXO. So again, this question would be for all three of you. When you look at, this is my customer, or this is how I identify my target pool of customers that I need to look for when I'm doing business. How would you do that? How would customer profiling be looked at when you are developing a new course or you are developing a new product in your case? Maybe Akhil will start with you. When you develop a new leadership training, so how do you look at the customer for whom you are targeting for?
Yeah, irrespective of whether Vinay or Bindu or Akhil respond to, I believe we always look at what is at the value we are trying to deliver for against the what challenges, right? So um, always look for the challenges we are trying to solve, the problem we are trying to solve for the customer, right? What is that the real need at the hour, at this moment? And in my case, if you look at the start itself were to address some challenges in the country. I reached out to 730 CIOs in the country in 2014 through CII, and most of them have become the CIO because they have got promotion one after the other. Right? They have not had a formal structured training programs where they could understand the 7 dimensions of becoming the CIO. They've just learned something, right? Somebody has come because they had product background and they had a very good understanding about it, and they have pushed and they have become. Somebody were very good in the leadership, not very good in technology, but still they have become the CIO, right? But have they covered all the 7 dimensions? No. So what is the real challenge we are trying to address? We look at, and what value we will deliver against that challenge is important part to address. Yeah. And that's how we design our programs and also the supporting product which we develop. So how exactly it is going to aid to their learning, aid to their growth if they use this particular product.
Okay, wonderful, Akhil. I think that's the foundation, of course, for anyone who wants to really get into any sort of business. Maybe, Bindu, how would you look at it? Anything specific to yeah, that you do from your business perspective?
Yeah, never think. The way I look at it, right? Of course, I agree with what Akhil had to say. Just to add to that, one thing that I keep telling my people, right? One thing is observing the market trend. Okay. Now, when you observe the trend, you use the journals and stuff that is already out there for the public to consume. Now, how much of it is saying all of the truth that it should be, right? So, I rather call it as market research. And that essentially, how do I do this market research? Don't talk to the producer, talk to the consumer. So now, if I'm going to do LCNC training, I shouldn't be looking at whether people are interested in LCNC. How many Java people want to move into LCNC. Now that's understood, right? That there is a demand, and that's why we started this. But where I need to really focus is talk to my SI partners, right, and understand, what are the difficulties today? Why aren't you liking these developer community? Where is the lack? Right? And talk to the platform companies and say, what, hey, listen, what is the issue in hiring developers? Right? You go talk to the consumer, understand their problem, and then structure the course, and then market the course to the individuals and tell them, what, your consumers are actually looking for this, and these courses are designed for your consumers. So there's no No question of you failing. Take the course. That's the idea.
Wonderful. And that means again you are looking at both sides of the spectrum. One, the market how it is today, and then what actually the organizations need and
Need.
what the gap looks to be, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And Vinay, what would that be from your point of view, when you look at product and services?
Right. So, uh, the few things which we try to formalize at our end, one is like, first of all, as a uh, team or organization, we should understand whatever we are offering, right? Whether it's product or the services, we try to granular level. We try to identify what are the specialization. So what is there with our this particular product, whether it's services or the actual product. Then we also look back to how we can also look back to one another part which is related to differentiation, like how it is going to be differentiator if we have any competitor there, right? That is the second part, right? And the third thing is, which is very important, we also do the segmentation. So segmentation is very important, where we are just trying to see based upon the geography, based upon the buyer persona, the industries, demographics, psychographics, right? Or any other thing which is involved there, right? That we look back. And then finally we look at like how we are going to approach. That is the concentration part, right? So these four things we try. It's not like from the beginning we were that much well defined. We learned over the period of time, right? Based upon how we were failing in a different aspects when we have not a very formal way to do that. But over the period of time, that is what we have learned right now. Maybe we will add in future something more, but yes, of course, right now at very high level, we are doing these four steps: specialization, right? A differentiator, then segmentation, and then finally the concentration, how we are going to focus on.
Great. And entrepreneurship, as I understand, even though I'm not yet, is all about the mindset, right? How actually you're able to consume the pressure properly or manage the stress that comes with it, keep your eyes open for all the problems that are around the world, how you address them. What, from your perspective, is entrepreneurial mindset, and what does it take to actually be in an entrepreneurial journey? It's always easy once you think that, okay, this is not for me, fall back. But you all have been consistently doing it, even though the pandemic for 1 year, still you are able to sustain and thrive and move forward. So, what does it take to build that kind of mindset? So maybe we'll start with Bindu if you're okay.
So, never fix this, right? So it's this. Um, when I got into entrepreneurship, this is what I realized. Every day feels like a weekend, but an entrepreneur never has a weekend. So it's up to you. You want to stay calm and keep doing the planning. Then it feels like a weekend. Yeah, you're sitting back. And then there are these moments where you feel you have sorted out everything, and it's a great journey, and it's going to be wonderful. And in the next 20 minutes, you will be sitting back and thinking, actually, what do I want to do, and why am I doing it in this way? Am I doing right? Can somebody validate this for me? And fortunately or unfortunately, entrepreneurs most likely will not have somebody to validate that, because we have jumped into the ocean by choice, right? So in all probability, the people around you are going to say, I told you were getting paid very well in ANZ and you should have just been there, right? So you don't, and we don't want to hear that. So I realized, one, cut off from negativity, extremely important. Never listen to somebody who says you're not going to make it. Two, we must have a growth mindset. That cannot be a fixed mindset. Okay, this course doesn't work, then what am I going to do next? Right? And then how keep thinking of your scale. That's so important. I'm doing the course for 4 today. How will I scale it if it is 40? What if somebody comes and asks me if they want 400? No, such a request hasn't come, but the mindset has to be there. Okay, then this is how I'll do the workshops. This is how I'm going to do the exercises. You got to always stay ready. And for that, you need to have the growth mindset. And finally, I think not much of help will come, but then we have to have that never give up attitude. Not much of help is going to come in that area, but you got to keep telling yourself. These are the three things.
Okay, awesome. So remove negativity from life, growth mindset, and never give up attitude. Akhil, what would be your take? What does it take for someone to be an entrepreneur?
So, Nivarti, very interestingly, you asked the mindset, and I'm very intrigued by. Um, so if you look at that as an entrepreneur, the first mindset is taking the risk, right? That I'm risk taker, but for what reason? And therefore, the entrepreneurs are for four types, right? There are people who are builders. I want to build a large organization, and I don't care for my personal income, right? I'm not looking for my personal income. I'm looking to build the income for the people. I want to see number of buses, number of people coming to my office, right? The large number of people who join me. They make their money, they make their life and career. And there are people who are opportunists. The mind of the entrepreneurial opportunist. I want to make money out of this. I see there is an opportunity, there is a gap, I can fulfill that and I can make the money out of it. Yeah. And then there are some people who want to specialize into some areas. And I was working for one of the organizations in my earlier days. When I passed out my engineering 2 years down the line, I started my own company. Still, the board was there in MG Road, long time back, and so there we wanted to become the specialist. We wanted to create the India's first SMS server. We became the second SMS server creator, and a lot of them are using it. So I want to become the specialized solution provider. A lot of people are out here, right? And then there are fourth one who are innovators. I want to innovate something new. And Nivarti, before we start, this pandemic happened, if you recall, we developed something called a curd maker, right? That IT transformation, that your fridge can become the curd maker, not only making your food preserved, right? As a part of it, and we sold it um, to one of the companies who are making the large number of fridges. Yeah. So the mindset is that it's a risk taking, but for what reason? Do you want to make money? Do you want to become a specialist? Do you want to innovate something new? Or I want to build the large organizations and a lot of people can be deployed, right? Or could be blend of couple of them, right? Or maybe all the four. So that's how I see this. And for each one of this role, you have to be very, very specific. For each one of them, you need to have the strategy. How am I going to build? How am I going to make sure that the money comes into the play? How am I going to make sure that the right kind of skills are built to call as specialized, right? Or what is the real problem I'm trying to solve in that particular area? So do I have the innovation? Can I think of the problems and how differently I can solve it, right? So you need to develop that strategy. That's not enough. You require to have the mindset, and Bindu was saying that you don't have the really time, right? You don't see the Mondays and the Sundays. Yeah, you have to give away your luxury. The mindset of that, yes, I have been in the industry for 24 years, and every weekend we used to go and see the movie or something, love luxury and eating the food and all the stuff. You have to become every single rupee saved, right? Make sure that you have the cash flow. You have to cut down to your lot of expenses which you had, right? And that calls the execution. How am I going to make sure that the low cost, high quality execution is done? And the speed is the key. Whether you are talking about builders, opportunists, talking about the innovation or whatnot, are you having the right speed? Will you be able to deliver quarter by quarter and reach out to your customers? Reach out to that particular community which you are looking for. Yeah? If that mindset is not there, execution mindset at a speed with the quality and the cost down, I don't think that's going to work. Yeah. And the last, that what would I do 25 years down the line? Will you be able to think through that large horizon 3 thinking while you are in the horizon 1, horizon 2? Will you be able to think for 25 years down the line how exactly it is going to happen? May not be right, but will you be able to think? Will you be able to visualize? And I think that's what I call it as entrepreneurial mindset.
Wonderful. Vinay, what about you?
Yep. They have told everything. So, okay, from my perspective, it's almost same what they are talking about, but I will tell you that couple of things which I focus on. One is, and I believe like people, whether they are entrepreneur as a like a, they are starting their own, or within the organization also you can be with that same mindset, right? So the first thing is like Parkinson's law. If you have remember, like what it says that no matter how much time you have, your work will eat that time. And that means you have to be very, very disciplined. Otherwise, it does not matter. We always feel like we have enough time. If you will not plan well, it has gone. Time will not wait for you, right? It will pass. The second thing is the Murphy's law, which says that whatever can go wrong will. So if we are ready with that, I am building world class product, it may fail, right? Do I'm having anything on that line, like what I will do at that moment, right? I'm not saying that I will be always thinking that it will fail and then I will build something. But if it has to fail, can I make it as fast? Of course, right? If I will just build a product for 4 years and then I will come to know that it's going to fail, something wrong I'm doing, right? So I have to just look back, like how I can be ready with that, like how it can fail fast, and I should be able to learn and I can do better in that case, right? That is there. And that fourth thing is like you're getting lots of stress, right? How you will motivate yourself? You are getting stress not only from this work, from all the different aspects, right? What they were talking about negativity, right? How we will be able to cope up with that, right? You need some way to handle that, and that is very important. If not, it will be very difficult for anyone, whether I'm as an entrepreneur I'm doing it, or I'm working at some organization at the highest post, right? It will be the same situation, right? So something we have to just look back, that how we can do that. And uh, one more thing which I would add, like usually we see that in a startup, right, we always look back how we can get the funding. Yeah, that is important, but can we just also look at how I can be profitable from the day one? That is also important, right? Yeah. So these are the couple of things which I feel that we should do that. And yes, of course, we will not be disappointed with what decision we have made. I'm not saying that we will be successful, but right, no one can guarantee that. Yeah.
Listening to all of you now, I'm confused whether I'm motivated or whether I'm really scared, to become or start my entrepreneurial journey. But yeah, it's really, interesting. Interesting probably is not the right word, but it's really intriguing to hear, what it takes really to not just become an entrepreneur, but be consistently pursuing that entrepreneurship as a way of life. It's not mindset, it's probably a way of life for people itself, right? So that's what it comes out to be. And probably, before penultimate question, if you have to attribute your success so far to two or three things that you think you have done right, because I'm hearing that yes, you will do a lot of things wrong and you should be okay with it, but you are able to sustain and thrive so far. That means you have done definitely more things right than what you have not. So, what would be those two, three things that you think you can attribute to your success so far? Maybe we'll start with you, Vinay.
Yeah. So one thing is, I was able to that growth what we have achieved is consistent. That is what make me feel like, yeah, I am still successful. And we were able to sustain to uh, a situation where it was like a complete adverse situation right last year, and we were able to sustain. We have not cut short with anything, like whether the number of head or the any kind of cost or whatever, right? We were able to do that. That is another one. We have grown, in fact, right? So year by year, we are growing, and that is what I'm able to see that, right? Impact wise, I'm able to see that the product that we are building it is well accepted by the market, right? So that means what we have thought about, what we are building is going into a good direction, right? That gives me enough feel. And so far, these are the 2 3 criteria that I'm look at. Like, if we are growing in terms of like a cash flow, or in terms of like a people getting right mindset, people, we are able to do a good impact in the market. Yeah, that gives me enough confidence. In that case, like, we can do much better in subsequent years.
Okay, Akhil, what about you?
In any business, I believe your customers are the key. The mindset that I can build any product, I understand that I can innovate it, but who is going to be the buyer? For our success so far is that we have a consistent customers, and once we have built that customer, the old customers is the better customers, right? Because they understand you, you understand them, and you are able to deliver to their values whatever they are asking for. So um, how you develop the marketing and the sales mindset? So the success of us has happened that there is always book of business available for you. Even in the pandemic, there are enough number of customers who are willing to buy, right? Provided you provide in that particular mode. So what has attributed to our success is that we build our customer base no matter what. So there is a revenue flow which is coming in, may not be able to make enough to cut the cost and take it forward, but that's the one. Second, are you able to quickly adapt to the new situation? Are you able to change your service approach, your product approach, and which suits the customers, right? So do you have the change ability at a faster pace without having any kind of creative, the viscosity is reduced, the fluidity has been built into the continuous change. And the third, I think Bindu was talking and Vinay was also talking about that. Have you understood that the sensing the market? Am I able to sense the market from the pestle perspective, not only the what market is talking about from the technology side of it? So we were able to, and I've been very proud of that. We have few people who are very good in sensing the market and build it to the change system to deliver. Yeah, and that has helped us to be in at least in the working condition at the moment.
Hmm. Bindu, I think we would like to hear your take also on this.
Definitely, Nivarti. I think networking, most important aspect that has worked well for me. Um, the 20 years in the corporate, I really didn't know that, I was going to take entrepreneurship at this particular time. There was no such plan, but I never burnt bridges, never. And I think I can say that very proudly on this forum that, Nivarti and myself, while working together, we have had our own differences. We have always agreed to disagree. And I think Nivarti's friendship has been one of the most beautiful for me because, we are not friends who talk every day. We are not friends who text every day, but then I know he's there. And, if there's something for Nivarti, I know that I would jump and go. So that kind of networking is so important because when you have that network, then you know that in a business, you need to have a source and then you have your customers. And that networking has to be in a manner that it satisfies both, right? So I had to make sure that I had a good network of universities, colleges, and all of that. And then I have a good network of consuming service partners, right? And I think I did a good job there by joining forums and Being an enterprising person helped me there. And I think second aspect is you network a lot, and then if people see you as, yeah, there are people who have said that this lady talks a lot. You can get branded that way. Irrespective of that, when you talk and also do, when you also show in action and you show outcomes, there's a lot of trust that gets built. Okay, so when people trust my capability, then my brand gets built. So there was a time when people would say, give it to Bindu, and probably I think she will find a way to do it. And then it eventually came to, oh, Bindu is starting a firm, excellent. And then people said, what are you saying? You're going to start 20 people batch? We thought if it is Bindu, it should be 200. I'll come to that statement, but then at least that trust was there. But now Bindu is also identified with Palito. People didn't know why Palito. People called me and said, what is that name? I said, it means school in my local language. So, I was marketing a lot of stuff. They said, local language. I thought you were a Tamilian. No, 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 I'm a Badaga from Ooty. Oh, Ooty, oh, that's nice. So I'm marketing a lot of things, like how Akhil precisely said, I'm being an opportunist. I can improve tourism in Ooty, which is also one of the diversified stuff that I do, right? So you build the trust, and the next is you have to build that brand. People have to recognize you by that brand, and I think we did that well. And most importantly, if I've been able to sustain during the pandemic, we've gone through exactly what Akhil has spoken about. A wonderful office, and we changed from a car porch. That was the first office, and then you get a good rented place, and then I actually moved into a kind of a small IT park kind of a setup. I thought I got a good CXO office, and took a photo, and then in 1 week's time I had to just send all my trainers back home. That's what we all went through. But today when I sit back and think, yes, I've gone through a phase of, I've sold some properties, and but I've also acquired some, and I've left people very confused. People still ask me, can you honestly tell me, is Palito going successfully or not? And I tell them, that's not for you to worry. What do you think? I'm happy or not happy? What does it look like? They say, no, I'm confused. You just moved into a fabulous villa, but then you also sold a wonderful house. And I tell them, these are all my risk calculations. So if some of my my staff in the decision making roles, they always tell me, when the partner says give me 40 resources, why do you immediately say, no, let's not be very ambitious, let's start with and you give a smaller number? Why do you do that when you can do this? Then I tell them, do you realize in 3 months from now this is what is going to happen, that is what I tell them, this is this, and then they say, oh God, who calculates so much like you? And 3 months down the line, that issue would have come, and we would still be safe because we did not overcome it. I don't like overcommitting and under delivering. So it's all about calculated risk. I think so far Palito has been able to sustain because of these three things: primarily networking, building the trust, and then the brand, and then very, very calculated risk.
Wonderful. And continuing with you, Bindu, probably one last question before the last question. So,
Sure.
what services do you actually offer if anyone wants to make use of it here in the board?
Sorry, could you just ask me that again?
What services do you actually
What
offer?
services? Oh, sure. So we started with only LC&C training, right? That's where we started. But then now we are into LC&C platforms testing. We have partnered with an LC&C product company for whom we have written their entire training material, right? And I feel very nice to say I burnt the midnight oil, because there was a point when people used to say she's not Bindu Sagadevan, she's Bindu Pegadevan. I was so passionate about Pega, but then my entrepreneurial journey, I learned there are so many products other than Pega, and then my passion became more of low code, no code. So now we are into low code, no code services totally. We test their product, we make their product documentation, we build the COEs for other small companies if they want to start an NC practice. We build the practice for them. We are into I was pushed and forced into leadership consulting because I have the network. People said, listen, I know you can't give, you don't like to give profiles, but I force you to do it for me. I need so and so delivery manager. Kahin se bhi leke aao. So I was forced into that. When you're forced into certain service, I mean, that's like a blessing, right? Where you make money, though you never planned to make money in that area. These are all some of the services we do. People are welcome to go to, www. It's very simple, palitu.com, PALEETU, palitu.com. Our services are listed out there in my own language. I hardly outsource anything. I think that's where startup entrepreneurial mind comes. Sometimes it's about affordability. Sometimes it's about the passion. I didn't even want somebody writing my website from A to Z of my website. It's me and the people who are passionate about it, who have written it down. Please go and take a visit, and you will know all our services.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you so much for that opportunity to say that, Nivarti. Thank you.
And Akhil, what services do you offer?
So we are offering the platform for any organizations to build their learning capabilities. And there are a number of people who are looking for the platforms to deliver their programs. Plus, we are now ready to deliver large scale DevOps agile engineers. And if you look at in the latest survey that has come, the DevOps engineers are becoming more, they will make more money than the data scientist or the data engineers. And the world requires them. So that's a second services which we have. The third service is very soon India will see its matured CXO platform in the association with the NASCOM. So the whole hope is that the people who want to become the CTO, CIO, or in the technologies areas, they can have a formal structured training program for 9 months to 1 year and see that they can grow to that particular roles.
Okay, thank you, Akhil. And Vinay, I know you have a lot of products and services.
Yeah. So I will just tell you first on the services side. We are on the digital transformation for the product companies, so which include agile consulting transformation, large scale level. That also is include uh, both technical and the process, both side. So all XP, extreme programming or DevOps, DevSecOps, all those from the process side plus the tools implementation, right? So that is also there. Then we have the development services also, where we take project or the some of the product features from the product companies. We are also associated with a couple of startups, not always, but yes, of course, till the time they have some ideas and they want some helping hand to build it fast, so that they can be able to get into a market, get a beta market rollout and all, right? So that we do for them. One of very successful application that we have built for one of the Middle East startup called as C Wallet. It's just similar to Paytm what we have here, but that entire backbone was on blockchain. So all transactions were quite secured into that, and right now that is quite popular there, and it has got big funding also in that case. So similar to that, we get associated with multiple startups across the globe, and we help them on that. So that is from the development side, and that includes lots of different technologies, varieties of like blockchain, AI, ML, IoT, you name, and we are working on that, right? That's how we do that. The second one is product, where we are focusing right now only two products, though we have others also, but we felt like it's always good to spend more on those who are giving you good market response, basically, not only the revenue, but yeah, of course. So one is ledger mail, which is a secured email, that is email service on blockchain. So we have right now just a B2B, like only for those business and enterprises, corporates, government agencies, security agencies, and all for them. And we are working with B2C market also. For that, we are right now associated with one of the big Asia Pacific. They are biggest in the public blockchain. We are partnered with them, and we are building that B2C. which is about to launch in July, end of something, right? So maybe I will update you guys, right? So that is also the second part is digital mirror. You have seen that, and we are already got that couple of airports in India who are already lined up for that. So that is what we are building up.
Okay, wonderful. So the last question, what is the one advice you have for anyone who wants to become an entrepreneur? Maybe Vinay will start with you since you are already speaking.
Yeah, so I would say that don't wait for a right time or something, right? The moment you will try to, the right time will never come, right? But at the same time, you have to be ready with the right mindset in terms of like a risk, failure, and other things, right? And the whole thing is like if you will be able to focus on what you want to achieve with that, right? What category you belongs to does not matter for you because you are just focusing on what you want to achieve, right? So you just focus on that, look back and try to learn as much as possible by failing fast or getting success early, right? Both, whatever. So work on that. There's nothing like it's a right time and then you have to start. So even though if you are in the college, I have seen lots of, and I'm in touch with lots of bright students who are having a very good ideas. They are looking at, they are going to that lots of funding place and all those things. Don't wait till the time you are getting funded. You just try to see that if you can build and you can just do some POC, small POC, right? That will give you a feel like it is having that much good uh, uh, strength in that case, right? So that's what.
Okay, Bindu, what would be your one advice?
It's one advice, but slightly lengthy statement. Expect the unexpected. Keep a parachute ready and shed the entrepreneurial ego. As in, you know, I didn't know that when I quit, I quit in September, and my family said they're giving me a challenge to not touch the laptop for 3 months. They said rest till December and then start from Jan. They didn't know they were giving me a very. They thought it's a difficult challenge. Actually, I was more than happy. I was doing all the homework in my mind, and in November 14th, Children's Day, my father had a stroke. And right from November to following Q1 the next year, I could have done nothing about my entrepreneurship. But because I had put my head into it, I started. Like how when I said I did not wait, I started. But then when I started, I had to start with 50% less than the capital investment that I had planned. 50% straight. I told myself it's okay. There's no right time. This is the time you quit and you want to do it, I will do it, right? And who knew that a pandemic would come? This is another unexpected. So back to back, things have been happening, but I was able to sustain because of this expect the unexpected, right? I mean, keep some funds. Don't go and play with all of it. Don't put all the eggs in one basket. And all of that is so true. Keep the parachute ready. Is you if people say keep a plan B. I will say keep plan B, plan C. My plan B is of course if things don't work, I will go knock all the doors and get back into corporate. Plan C is, the corporate may say when I actually promoted you, you happily walked away saying you want to be an entrepreneur. So there are chances that people may say, no, I'm not taking you back. Then what do I do? My plan C is I'll become a good, I'll open a restaurant or because I'm a good cook. That's what I think, or maybe a child care center. That is where I mean shed that ego. It's okay to fail. We may fail because we took a big risk and we've been very adventurous. Then don't get into that, thing that, the whole world thought I'm going to be successful and, this has not worked out. So what am I going to do? This looks like the end of life. No, just shed that ego, accept that, it didn't happen. And then remember that you too have a right to live. So go ahead, go on your plan B, path C, whatever. And then, you never know, you may just come back and make it bigger this time.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bindu. Akhil, last but not the least. You're on mute, Akhil.
I have a slightly different view on this point, right? And I learned when I passed out when I did my master's, and I said, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. I said, who will know what do you want to know? What do you want to do? Who will know? No one else. It is you who has to know what you want, right? That should become your way of life. That has to become the passion for you. Yeah. And there are three entrepreneurs which I have followed to their core, and Steve Jobs has become my role model. But then he was so passionate about that thing. But similarly in Elon Musk, but similarly the Mukesh Ambani, similarly the others, if you look at the Oyo, which is very close to me, very, very close to him, he was so passionate about that problem to solve. He was so passionate about taking this forward, right? So become one single-minded. I want to solve this problem, or I want to make more money. I want to become a billionaire, or I want to become the specialist, or I want to innovate. Just develop that single-minded focus. You may fail. You may fail 20 times. And I must tell that this is my fifth time. I have failed 4 times. And I only regret I have that. Why did I leave my failure and join the corporates? Bindu. I failed, developed the India second SMS server, sold it to Reliance. But why did I leave? Why I had not continued it? Probably I would have continued doing something differently. So please make the failure as a way of life. And one day you will see you are another great people to serve to the society. What the passion? What's that passion? And follow it till you feel, experience that, yes, I made it. I come to my passion.
Wonderful, Akhil. Okay, I think that gets us to the end of the session. Again, thanks a lot to three of you. It's always great to connect with you all, even though we connect regularly, but on this forum, hearing your thoughts. It's great learning and great insights to take away.